So while it's still fresh in my mind, I'm going to talk about how something we do here each summer for 2 weeks can really help anybody who says, I cannot visualize. So every year, a few of us get together and we work intently on dealing with the knapweed situation here at the Abbey. So we do this for 2 weeks. It varies each day from doing this for 3 to 5 hours a day, and it's this solid chunk of time, and it brings great rewards. But the one reward I didn't expect was that after about 3 days, and Venerable Damcho, this may be true for you too, and Venerable Semke, of looking at the knapweed for 3 days in a row, that's all it takes for 3 to 5 hours a day. I can be looking out with my eyes open, and all I see is knapweed. That's it. I can close my eyes. I don't even have to bring it to mind, and appearing in front of me is knapweed. Now, I hope this isn't a sign of mental illness, Venerable Jigme. We'll have a talk about that later. So there's people who at the beginning of the practice will often say, I can't visualize the Buddha. I just can't do it. And people at different stages of their practice will say, this is my weak point. I'm really, really weak at visualizing. And I can tell you I have a solution. Come here for 2 weeks and you can pick knapweed with us. You will see for yourself that familiarization with something over 3 days. It's only 3 days you have to come. But if you want to stay for 2 weeks, great. It gets more intense each day that you do it. There's no problem with any of us being able to visualize. It is simply looking at it again and again and again. And it's not like we're out there, with single-pointed concentration doing knapweed. Are you kidding me? Not me. So it's just over and over, this exposure. So I would say find an image of the Buddha that really appeals to you. That's a starting place. And then, if you're convinced that this is going to be hard for you, put the image maybe where you have your little meditation seat, have it there on your table. Look at it every day. Don't put the image in a bathroom. Okay, I know you spend a lot of time there, but don't put it there. That's not a good place for any holy image. Have it in a place where you're going to see it every day. Don't have it where, if you're stretching out after many hours of looking at the image, that your feet would be pointing to the image. So have it in a higher place, and I can promise you that your problems with visualization will end. But in the meantime, if you remain thoroughly unconvinced, then come to the Abbey next July or send me an email and we can set you up and you can have this experience for yourself. So then following that, the other thing that we experienced this year was we were working on the new property that you heard about last year. And I think it was on day 2, Venerable Damcho, we went to a certain place. And just looking at the field of knapweed, I thought, we might as well stop now. This is hopeless. There is so much knapweed there, why even bother to start? Why don't we just sit down and have tea, and we can talk about how impossible this task is. And then we can, point fingers at the neighbors who are simply too busy or they're elderly. It's their fault that this field looks like this. The previous owners, same thing. They simply didn't have the time, but look, it's their fault. And then we could sit there for the rest of the day and have tea and cookies and talk about how terrible this knapweed situation is. We could do that for 2 weeks. And what would happen? Well, we'd be finished. We'd pack up the stuff, and the field would look just the same. But we found that when we started sort of moving into this new area of challenge at the Abbey, where there's so much knapweed, that results, if we just continue working at it, we're going to see results. And I was thinking about the same thing, with the afflictions. Once I start thinking about, the fact that I've been here since beginningless time, doing what I've been doing with my mind, collecting this huge variety of afflicted mental states and creating all this karma and all these seeds on my mental continuum, then I just want to lie down in the field and look at the sky and think, it's hopeless. I might as well just lie here and look at the sky. And so that when I'm 99, I'll be still in the same grievous state. But what we've seen at the Abbey here, I can tell you from personal experience that when Venerable Semke and Venerable Tarpa and Venerable Children were here in 2003, everything on the Abbey property looked like the new property. It was covered in knapweed. And through persistence and effort, and this is what the people say at the Pend Oreille County Knapweed bored. You know, people ask them, well, what do I do with this huge knapweed problem? And they say, it's persistence. You've got to address this problem every year. You've got to pick the plants. Hopefully you get them by the root. And so I see the results, and everyone here sees the results of persistence. Every year since 2003, people have been working on the knapweed situation here at the Abbey, and now it's extraordinary. There are certain places where you just do not see it. It's not there. And so I keep that in mind when I think of go into the pity party about all these afflicted mental states that have deposited these endless numbers of seeds, what to do. I can just think of the knapweed and think, this is possible. And this will also address this natural state of discouragement. So some people will say, okay, so I'm discouraged. That's my business. Leave me alone. I want to be discouraged. I want to just do it that way because that's how I've always done it. But then if they hear some Buddhist teachings that discouragement is a form of laziness, when I first heard that, I thought, you can get out of my face. One thing I am not lazy. I'm discouraged. Let me be depressed, but I'm not lazy. Well, guess what? It's a form of laziness. So I'm going to lie in the field and hope my afflictions go away and drink tea and talk to Venerable Damcho about how it's everyone's fault that I'm in this state. Right. That's not going to do it. So I want to tell you something. I'm going to give you a little bit of information from the Lamrim Chenmo from, I think this is volume 3, from Geshe Sopa's commentary. Perseverance is the remedy for discouragement. The nature of perseverance is joy in doing meritorious actions. No matter how much physical discomfort, mental hardship, or inconvenience an activity entails, we joyfully persevere. The ability to bear discomfort and joyfully persevere does not come easily. For joy to arise when one is sad and tired, one must understand the benefit of doing the action and the disadvantages of not doing it. One will be encouraged to continue by understanding the details of what one is doing and why one is doing it. Then one's perseverance becomes as strong as a professional boxer. Even though he or she is knocked down, in pain, or almost dead, he or she gets up to fight because he or she has a special reason that keeps him or her going. A religious practitioner, especially a Mahayana practitioner, should do every action for the benefit of all sentient beings. Once patience and diligence are established in the mind, even if one has to do something for a very long time, it feels like just a day. There is no problem, and one experiences a special kind of joy. So that's very encouraging. And if you remain determined in your discouragement and you cannot visualize, please come to the Abbey and talk to us. We're going to show you how to do it for the benefit of all sentient beings.